LeighTDickey.com. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast. I am your host, Leigh Dickey. On this show, we just talk about absolutely anything and everything in the world that comes across my mind when it comes to radio, TV, life in general. It is a general interest / comedy entertainment show, and that is what I want to give to you and will continue to give to you every single Friday at midnight Eastern Time, because that's when new episodes of the Beats and Speaks podcast go live. You can find them on my official website, LeighTDickey.com, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and wherever you get your favorite podcast. It is available. So you have an app, you will find the Beats and Speaks podcast there. But if all else fails, again, you can go to my official website, LeighTDickey.com. That's LeighTDickey.com. Today, I want to basically talk about and give you an opinion piece on people who complain when it is way too hot, or they complain that it is too hot when it comes to the summer weather, so to speak. And again, I'm just going to tell you my honest opinion, unabolished, unfiltered, uncensored, even though I probably will not swear in this show. But we're just going to give you my honest opinion, straight shoot, nobody's on me, and here we go. So remember, new episodes of the Beats and Speaks podcast go live every Friday at midnight Eastern Time and can be found wherever you get your favorite podcasts and on my official website, LeighTDickey.com. You can also subscribe on YouTube by searching Leigh Dickey TV. Again, my name is Leigh Dickey. That's LeighDickey TV on YouTube. But let's get into this week's episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast, an opinion on people who complain that it is way too hot at any point in the year, any point in their lives. Now, here's the thing. I live in Toronto, Canada. We have winter about 10 months out of the year. It is cold. It is freezing. My bones feel it every single day for about 10 months. Winter, it pays its rent in spades and then just never leaves. It overstays its welcome. And I'm not a fan, okay? I've mentioned this before. I have cerebral palsy. I have to use a walker to get around. And winter and I don't get along. You know, when it comes to the snow, the ice, and the fact that I have a walker, those three things do not mix. Winter and I don't like each other, but I have to put up with it because I live in a city, a country, a province where winter is just the main event for the year. It shows up, it overstays its welcome, and I just have to deal with it. I mean, you know, some people might say, well, you're 30, you've been disabled your whole life, you've had CP your entire life, you've lived in Toronto your entire life, you've lived in Canada your entire life. Canada is naturally and normally very cold anyway during the winter, or at least during the year. Deal with it, get over it, and you know, I get that. I mean, I am used to it. I'm used to not liking it. I'm used to hating winter, where it's just like, all right, cool, great. I mean, if it were up to me, we'd have warm temperatures, hot temperatures, whatever. We wouldn't have snow at Christmas time, okay? I don't want snow at Christmas time. I don't want ice at Christmas time. I don't want a white Christmas. I want a warm Christmas, all right? You can just imagine me in the winter getting over snowbanks, trying to turn this thing into an four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, turn my walker into a truck pretty much. Call me a Chevy salesman. Hey, by the way, Chevrolet and General Motors, if you're looking for a spot on a podcast, I know a guy, me. And I'm just saying, winter and I don't get along. So when we get the warm temperatures that usually show up for 5 minutes between June and the end of August into September, I love this stuff. I get to wear shorts. I get to wear sandals. I don't have to wear socks. I don't have to wear shoes. It's warm. I can get my tan on. And yes, I understand that winter's the main event. And then during summer, it gets pretty humid. Yes, we do have to deal with humidity. It's crazy humid. I understand that. And I'm not saying that, my genetic makeup has anything to do with it. I'm half Filipino, and I'm used to the heat, I suppose you could say. But I'm not going to complain that it's too hot. Ever. Never will you hear me complain that it's too hot. Even on the most humid day. I think we had a day where with the humidity, it was like 45 degrees or something like that. And I'm not going to complain, and I'll tell you why. Because summer doesn't last all that long. It lasts 5 minutes and then it's gone. And I understand that by the time you guys hear this, it'll be sometime in September, and we'll be either at the end of summer and getting into fall, or well into fall by the time I put this up. But when people complain that it's too hot, I'm like, well, you know what? Yeah, like, you could deal with winter. We could, break out the shovels. We could have to, scrape the ice off our cars, dig ourselves out, because obviously the winter just happens to envelop everything and sort of like swallow us whole. We could just deal with that. And they're like, yeah, you're right. I know I'm right. So stop complaining that it's too hot. Oh my God, it's too hot. Drink some water. Have some ice cream. Drink some lemonade. Go to Tim Hortons and get an ice cap. Go to Starbucks, get an iced coffee. Do something to, stay cool. And just don't complain that it's too hot. I don't understand people that want to complain about the heat when in Toronto and in Canada in general, we don't get hot weather. We don't get warm weather all that much. It lasts, if we're lucky, we get 8 weeks. If we're lucky, right? Sometimes it's less than that. Sometimes it's a little more. We've had, years where it could start in April or even as early as March and then go straight through. Or we've had summers where between July and say August, it's about as, warm as it is now. It's about 20 Celsius. And I think whatever that is in Fahrenheit or whatever sort of temperature gauge you're using to measure, I'm not sure because I can't do the math off the top of my head right now. But I would think that's somewhere 68, maybe 70-ish Fahrenheit. That's just a wild guess on my part. But when I hear somebody complain that it's too hot, I will always be on the side of, yeah, but then there's winter. Yeah, Lee, you got a point. Yeah, I know I do. I have a point, and I'm going to make it because winter sucks. And I understand, well, we're from Canada. We should be used to it. Yeah. I've heard it all before. I've heard it for 30 years because I've been in Canada for 30 years. I was born and raised here. I've been born and raised in Toronto my whole life. I get that, right? It's winter, it's cold, it's a Canadian thing. I suppose you could call it a rite of passage. You're not Canadian unless you've experienced a real winter. Well, I've experienced about 30 of those, okay? Or 29, because my birthday's in the spring. So, we're coming up on 30 years of nothing but, solid winter. And I'm not a fan. I don't like it. So, but I really, really enjoy the heat. I enjoy wearing a short sleeve shirt. I enjoy wearing shorts. I enjoy wearing sandals. I enjoy not wearing socks. I enjoy getting my tan on. I enjoy going for walks. And I would do that in the winter anyway, but I enjoy going for walks even more so in the spring and summer, even in the heat, because there's no snow on the ground. There's nothing here. There's nothing impeding my path. There's nothing in my way. I don't have to worry about snowbanks to get over. I don't have to worry about slipping and sliding on the ice like I'm Elvis Stoiko, off a bender or whatever, or Scott Hamilton or whoever. Just sort of slipping and sliding like I'm on ice skates. It's not a good look. I don't like having to, do, not that I'm not allergic to work, but it's I don't want to have to, in a sense, really push myself to get over a snowbank. I don't want to have to, because going out in the winter, with a walker and with cerebral palsy, it's not easy because you got to get over snowbanks because snowplows don't know what they're doing. Here, they just push everything to one side and say, well, there you go, we've done our job, see you later. Or at least, see you in like March when it's all gone, March, April. So, and then like some people don't shovel in the winter, mind you. So I'm just kind of like, what do? I'm, a fish out of water. I'm SOL basically. I'm up the creek without a paddle. And when it comes to summer, no matter how hot it gets, I am the guy that will always champion it. I'm the guy that will always champion spring. I'm the guy that will always champion summer. I'm the guy that will always champion warm weather. You know what I'm saying? I'm never going to complain. I love this stuff. Short sleeves. I mean, right now, because it's a bit cooler, it's only 20 Celsius, I'm wearing a Wrangler short sleeve shirt, like a sort of a button up, and I'm wearing like long jeans, right? But I'm comfortable. In the winter, you can't be comfortable, right? Because you're bundled up completely. You got probably 75 layers of clothing, 6 scarves, 3 coats, 4 pairs of socks, boots, and you just, your face is covered, and then you're like, oh, I know that person under there. But to get to them, you gotta basically unwrap the 97 layers, and then you're like, oh, that's a person I know. I just, the layering, because we get bitterly cold winters. So when people complain that it's too hot, I'm like, yeah, but winter. I'll probably put that on a shirt one day. Yeah, but winter. Yeah, but I mean, we don't have humidity in winter. That's true. We don't. But it's also all the ice, all the snow, and then the fact that, it makes it difficult to drive and get anywhere and walk and what have you. And people forget how to drive in the winter most times. Whether or not it's like, whether or not there's ice on the roads or snow or whatever. I think that like for the period of time that we get summer where it is like, 30, 40 plus Celsius, people seem to forget that, like, I'll never forget that winter happens every year, but for the 8 to 12 weeks that summer exists, I am not thinking about it, and for people to complain that it's too hot and that they can't handle the humidity, just drink water and keep yourself cool. Find an air-conditioned space. Go get a cold drink like a Coke or water. Find cold water. Find any source of fluid and liquid to keep yourself hydrated and stay cool. Like, if you really don't want to go out on a really hot day, that's your prerogative. But don't complain that it's too hot, knowing that the winter's going to show up and that you're going to have to shovel and scrape the ice off your car and probably clean out your car, because who knows, you're going to track the snow in and the boots and the layers of clothing, and then you're going to complain that winter, oh, I don't want to deal with it. Well, you didn't want to deal with summer when it was here. You didn't want to deal with the hot weather, right? Like, I'm never going to complain that it's too hot, even with the humidity, and I've said that before in this podcast already, but like my ideal place to live would be like a dry heat, like Arizona or Nevada. That would be perfect, 40 some degrees with 6% humidity. Like, who wouldn't want that? I'd love that. But, I'm still living in Toronto. Fine. And it's humid. Fine. During the summer. Cool. I mean, I'm not going to lie and say it doesn't make me uncomfortable. Yes, humidity makes me uncomfortable. But I'd still go out in it because you got to take advantage of the summers that you get, the nice days that you get, because during the winter, nobody leaves their homes at all, ever, right? Like, you're inside, because who wants to go out in the middle of a blizzard or an ice storm or whatever with like 30 centimeters of snow falling all in one night? Like, nobody wants that, right? So when you complain that it's too hot, yet you're out in it, like, well, what do you want? Like, I would love to live in a place with dry heat. But the summers in Toronto, we get a ton of humidity. I get that, no problem, right? And a day like this, 20 degrees is perfect. I know I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt and some long jeans, but that's fine with me. But, you know, if it was like 30, 40 degrees, I'm not complaining, because we get such a short window to enjoy the warm weather and enjoy the summer, that what's the sense in complaining? It lasts 8 to 12 weeks, and then we're right back to cold. We're right back to, you know, this time of the year you start thinking, well, fall is coming, you know, where pumpkin spice everything is basically everywhere. And then, like, you know, not too far removed from that, you get winter, and then, you know, all the coffee shops roll out their, you know, holiday drinks or their Christmas drinks or whatever you want to call them. You know, whether it's peppermint or sort of creme brulee lattes or what have you. So for an 8 to 12 week period, what is the sense in complaining? Because you're going to complain for 8, 10, 12 months, or, well, not 12 months, but like, you're going to complain for like the next 8 to 10 months that it's too cold. So just take advantage of the summer while we have it. It's not that difficult. You know what I'm saying? I hope you guys have enjoyed your summer. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your summer. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast. Here's a reminder, the Beats and Speaks podcast is available on my official website, LeighTDickey.com, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever podcasts are available. They go live every Friday at midnight Eastern Time. Please write and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app, and I will feature it on my website. All right, that's it for this episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast. Thanks again for listening. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Find us also on YouTube under Leigh Dickey TV, and we will see you all and talk to you all next Friday at midnight Eastern Time for a brand new episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast. All right, I'm Leigh Dickey, and I'm signing off. We'll see you later. Peace. Oh, no worries. LeighTDickey.com